Chat room. That's the link for today's lesson. When we come back, we're going to be getting into the law of divine grace. And today we're also going to be sharing in Holy Communion. I want everyone today to sow. And I want to know, did you get your 365 for this year? Did you get your prophecy for the next 12 months? And we have 135 people inside the chat room right now. And we want you to come on in and be a part of this. This is going to be great. And, oh, thank you. Harris Crooks just sent me some information. So y'all going to help me write this book. He said to graduate with a high school diploma in America, students must put in a minimum of 11,000 hours.
Oh, Jesus.
Isn't that interesting? This is just to have the foundation to go on to the next level of education. Now that thought, that's going to be a chapter, and that not chapter is going to be a part in that book. Thank you for that, Harris. That is powerful. Look at, see,
That's amazing.
you really are not qualified to work unless you have 10,000 hours of some kind of education. And if you don't, then it's a low level of work that you do. This is very interesting. What are you talking about that, Prophetess Kelly?
You know, it's true. You're paid according to the hours that you mastered. I can remember coming in to teaching, and my administrator told me, he said, you know, this is good what you're doing right now, but you're going to find that the more you teach, the more your salary is going to go up, but then the more you will have mastered when you got into teaching. Somehow I never forgot that. I mean, it was very true. Just a piece of information he just shared with me in passing, and one of my administrators, but just let me know that you've got to put the hours in. You got to stay there, put the hours in. The money's there, yeah, you go ahead and you make the money, but it's the hours he was telling me.
You think a lot of people want to make fast money and don't want to put the hours in?
Oh, of course. It's that type of society we live in. The get rich quick, you know, the microwave society, I call it. You want it now. You don't want to wait till it bakes in the oven. You want it right now, right out of the microwave.
People want the money but don't want to do the hours.
Because, you know, when I started in what I did with the city, you started out as an apprentice. And the history in that title, you were an apprentice for a certain period before you had the right to upgrade to the next title. What we observe is that those that found ways and means of getting bypassed into the other level of title quickly, we subsequently have problems with the quality of work that they do.
Sure. It's called taking a shortcut.
Wow. And when a person don't have the hours in, you feel the effects of it on the stage. In music, you feel the effects.
Oh, absolutely. I could always tell which students were practicing and which could not. The ones that weren't practicing couldn't hold their own. The ones that could, they were able to handle. Not only did they hold their own, they carried the section. So you knew who was who. That's where you get your first players, your second players, your third players. You knew who to put where according to the hours that they practiced. You just knew.
But how about someone that was just talented?
No, there'd be a difference. There's no depth to the playing. There's a different quality. There's a depth to the playing for those that, you know, that have put in the hours to practice, those that just can come and just rip off a you know, a riff, if you will.
Tones are different.
It's absolutely different, yeah.
Really? Because the hours create the tone?
Creates the tone.
It shapes the instrument?
Absolutely.
It shapes the body?
Yes. Because even with a keyboard player, you can tell a keyboard player that literally practice outside of the teacher's presence, because they'll work on getting the sound correct, especially when they do scales and rips. If they just listen and carry that out, whether it's in keyboard or in saxophone or clarinet or even in the violin, you can tell just by tones how they're able to do it, whether they're timid the way they approach a note or they come onto the note correctly attacking it. You know, it's there.
And they were just always inquisitive. They wanted to know. When I had kids that, you know, when I had lunch, they wanted to come in and practice, and it used to bother me. I was like, wait, this is my time. And I had to back off because I said, when else are they going to get to practice in school if they have a free time coming? So my lunch hour was always open to them. But I had to get to understand that because they needed the time. They wanted to. This is something they wanted to do within them. So they would just come in and practice. And so, yeah, they put, and they wanted to put in the time. They were inquisitive. They asked questions. They wanted to know. They always wanted to know more than what was going on in the classroom. They always took it to the next level, if you will.
Were there any students that you saw that made a career out of music?
Two. One was Dominic. Remember Dominic? He played guitar, played bass.
Yes,
Played
yes,
for a
yes,
while.
that's right, Dominic.
Yeah. Dominic
You're
did,
right.
yeah. And there was another young lady, she's a singer.
Okay.
And she went on, and I don't know what she did, but she did something in the Met. And she didn't make it to the big stage, but she made it to the Met. So there was just two that I know of. Yes.
Now let's talk about, for instance, the one that made it to the Met. Do you think that, because see, I want to also deal with in the book how environment shapes.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Environment and wealth, okay? Well, your wealth creates your environment. Given the environment she came out of, that was really something to bow
that was
at.
definitely big because it was a very socioeconomically depressed area, but she was able to rise up because of her talent. She went to one of the top high schools in the city, music and art at that time. So that was, you know, she had an opportunity to go there, which opened up other vistas and avenues for her to be able to get into different areas. So yes, that definitely, you know, that's why I said it doesn't really matter where you come from. It matters what you do with where you come from.
Right.
You can come from anywhere. It doesn't matter. You know, Jesus, you know, came from Nazareth. Can any good thing come out of Nazareth? You know, so it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter if you put in the hours.
It's
'cause
the
see,
hours that are necessary.
and that's what I'm going to cover. The rich don't get 25 hours and the poor get
Nope.
23.
That's right. That's right.
But it is important that your environment gives the support. Like one of the things that I've also found in some study is that poor people, when school is over, they're the only people that take vacation from education. Whereby the wealthy, when school is over, let's say if they were send them to a music camp during the summer, send it to get her involved in more after school things to help sharpen that skill. And so the environment that helps shape the life of the child is important to have that support group. So when people come from certain socioeconomic areas, they oftentimes don't have the support that is needed to help shape the destiny of the rise of that voice or force that seeks to come forth. This is very interesting. Williams sisters definitely have the hours in. Their father started working with them since they were young.
The Jackson 5, they had the hours in.
Joe Jackson made sure.
He made sure. That's right. That was a
And you
priority.
know, and see, when you look at the uneducated, they will look at it and say, well, he was an abusive father. But was he an abusive father, or was he the disciplinarian? See, the mentee hates the mentor because the mentee cannot see where the mentor is taking them. But it was the hours that were put there that put them into the world stage.
And then who really would be the abusive parent? The one that didn't require the extra hours or the one that did?
Exactly. And so that's when you start to look at it in developing those hours and moving a person towards mastery. Your friends are your cheerleaders. They love you just the way you are. They tell you you're doing great. Your mentor is your tormentor, hates the way you are, because all they can see is that there's mastery in you that they got to pull out of you. Masters make masters. Amen. See, the worst thing you can do is now hear this, go to an enemy of your master for advice, because they will console you. Because them consoling you weakens your step towards mastery, because they don't seek to bring you to mastery. The master seeks to bring you towards mastery. You get no consolation here. A matter of fact, when you come, you get further breaking. Why?